Okay, Lee, thanks for joining us. Of course, you're getting ready now to prepare for your next game against Swindon on Saturday. How's your week going with your players?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Obviously, trying to get the recovery into the players, and then the work towards the game will start really today. But no, a good week. We had some players playing for the under-21s yesterday as well, which is good because they need some minutes. So when their opportunity comes, they're ready to go. But a really good week so far.
Well, following Saturday's first defeat in 5 league games, the one thing that you pointed out was that you wanted your players to respond. And I think you know what the answer is going to be there because you know your squad well.
Yeah, and looking back on, you speak after a game, don't you? And really, I should have just been saying performance wasn't too dissimilar to the performances we've had. We just didn't score. So, you asked me what was pleased with, etc. A lot of it, if I'm honest, to go to there and put on that type of performance and really should have scored at least 2 goals. You're on about response. Sometimes a response when you say them types of things means your team's had a poor performance followed by a poor result. But what it's more about is us progressing and getting better at what we want to do. So that's more the aim really than saying you need a response. It's making sure we hit the levels that we've been able to do in the previous 5 games.
So you're approaching that final month of the first month of the season. 12 points on the board, of course. Out of the 15 on offer, you must be pleased. I know you always say, I want to win football matches, but that's not a bad start.
No, we are pleased. We knew it was important to start the season well, which we've been able to do. On top of that, I think the performances have been good. You watch Liverpool v Newcastle the other night, and our games look a little bit like that, don't they? It's high tempo. Now, I'm not comparing us to either of them 2 teams, by the way, but it's just that's how you see football, and I think we've been exciting to watch, given the opposition some chances in games, and but we're really pleased with the start that we've had, and we just want to continue them levels. When there is that blip in the performance isn't what we want to do, that's when we then need a response. That's when we need the group to double down on what we want to do, because we want to try and maintain this for as long as we can.
And after being on your travels to back-to-back away games, you're returning back home to the Mornflake Stadium, where I think at the end of last season you were dropping off at home, but you really stressed that home form was important, and again you've got a 100% record. Yeah,
for any team, regardless of what you want to achieve in any division, you want to please your home fans, and if you can pick up more points at home than what you lose, it's going to put you in a good position. And then on top of that, you need to be solid away from home. And pick up points when available. But it is important that we have a good home record, but also I think it's important in the way we play at home. Because again, I don't really want to speak about last year, but 2 different teams, 2 different ways of playing, but some lacklustre performances with a lack of energy, and that's not what we want to represent this year.
Well, you're getting ready to face Swindon, still arguing one of the big clubs in League Two. They're finding it difficult to get out. Well, they've appointed a manager in Ian Holloway, a few months ago now, but it seems to have breathed fresh air and fresh life into that football team.
Absolutely. I think they're one of the form teams. If you go back from when he's taken over the job, spent a short period of time with him last year, and he makes you buzz. So I can imagine the players enjoy playing for him, and they're a really good team. They try and play in the right manner. They scored an excellent goal at the weekend, lovely move through the middle of the pitch. So we know we're going to be up against a real tough opposition. I'm looking forward to seeing him again.
Yeah, I think he's only lost 12 games in the 44 that he's played as the manager of Swindon, but he's got over that 1,000 games group, hasn't he? So he's packed with experience.
Incredible. I say to some managers, how have you been doing it for so long? And he's just been doing it forever and a day, hasn't he? I think every team that he's had has been enjoyable to watch. I obviously watched a little bit more of Blackpool than I normally would when Vorney was there. And they were a really good team to watch, and I just think to maintain it at the level he has done for so long is just incredible. And like you say, he's obviously really good at what he does, with the results he gets in previous clubs, and how he looks like he's turning it around at Swindon to put him in a position to be near the top end of the division.
Every manager's different in the dugout, there's no doubt about that. But do you like that odd one or two colourful characters in your type of job that you do day in and day out?
Yeah, I do. I think otherwise it becomes boring. Obviously, you don't try and go over the top. I got booked the other day, which was unacceptable with that. But I think we need characters in football. I think it's come way too robotic in terms of how we speak as coaches and managers. I think it's too robotic. It's hard to say things at times because you do interviews a lot and not a lot changes. So I think it's really good when you've got characters in football that speak the mind and tell people exactly how things are.
Where are you with those injured players? Another week or so has gone by. Improvements?
Yeah, so Mattis and Jack are looking really good out on the grass. They're integrating into training, which is good. Rope form Mattis can contribute a little bit more to training next week, which will put them in a position where we'll have a decision to make. And Jack the following week will then up what he's doing. But both look good, so we're trying to integrate him back into training a little bit, which will be really pleasing and give us more headaches when it comes to picking a squad.
We're just coming down to those final few days now of the window being open. You've had a busy sort of period since you started the window. Where are you up to now going into the closing stages?
Yeah, so we're really focusing on one area. We lost out on one last week. We had some bad news on that, something we've been working on for a couple of weeks. The club in the end won't let the player out. We got another offer in for another player. We're waiting to hear back from the club. We've also looked at one other. So there's something happening in one position. What we end up with will determine on other clubs, not necessarily us. And then there's one other position we'd like to bring in somebody to strengthen in that area as well. But the priority is the position I just spoke about, which hopefully I'd like to get something done before Saturday.
Well, you'll be glad when it's all done and dusted and you concentrate firmly, which I'm not saying you haven't concentrated on the squad that you work with day in and day out, but it's all over then.
It's an exciting part of the season, the transfer window, isn't it? For fans and everybody, and they're all waiting for you to come up with a tweet or whatever it is to tease them. It's an exciting part of football, but you are happy when it's finished and you know what your squad is and what you're working with, and you've not lost any players as well on top of that. So you can really, it's just until January then you really knuckle down on the day-to-day running of a team.